You know what fascinates me about medicine, Kalin? The way a single patient can completely transform a doctor's life. There's this incredible story from 1848 that captures this perfectly. Turgenev's The District Doctor, and it feels more relevant today than ever.
That's interesting, Pappy. How does a story from nearly 2 centuries ago still resonate with modern healthcare?
Well, Kaylin, since you are in medical school, it's fascinating because it explores this rural doctor who's essentially doing what we now call frontline medicine. He's isolated, overworked, and then encounters this one patient who changes everything. Studies show that even today, about 20% of rural doctors report severe professional isolation.
The parallels to modern healthcare burnout are striking. I've read that rural physicians are 40% more likely to experience emotional exhaustion than their urban counterparts.
Exactly. And what's really powerful is how Turgenev captures this through the story structure. We have this narrator meeting the doctor who then shares this deeply personal story about treating a young noblewoman. It's like these layers of isolation, each one revealing something about the cost of caring too deeply.
The way you describe that makes me think about how modern medical schools are actually starting to incorporate literature like this into their curriculum to teach empathy and emotional awareness. Um,
You know what's particularly striking? The way the doctor describes becoming emotionally numb after losing this patient. It's remarkably similar to what we now call compassion fatigue, something that affects up to 60% of healthcare providers today.
that's such a powerful connection between past and present. How does the story handle that transformation?
Well, Turgenev does this brilliant thing where he shows the doctor's change through this quiet, devastating death scene. No melodrama, just this young woman dying in his arms, thanking him. It's like watching someone learn the hardest lesson about medicine. Sometimes presence is all we can offer.
That reminds me of modern palliative care principles. The idea that healing isn't always about curing.
Exactly. And here's what's fascinating. Studies show that doctors who maintain some emotional connection with patients, despite the risks, actually report higher job satisfaction. But there's this constant tension between empathy and self preservation that Turgenev captured perfectly.
The story seems to be wrestling with some pretty universal themes about human connection in professional contexts.
And what's really interesting is how the story addresses class barriers. The doctor falls for someone above his social station. While those specific class divisions might not exist today, we still see similar barriers in healthcare, cultural, economic, social. Recent studies show these disparities significantly impact both patient outcomes and provider burnout.
That's such an important point about how social structures affect healthcare delivery, even centuries later.
You know what else is fascinating? The way this story anticipates modern discussions about professional boundaries. Today, medical ethics committees spend countless hours defining appropriate doctor patient relationships, but this story suggests these challenges have always been part of medicine.
The timelessness of these ethical dilemmas really is remarkable.
And consider this, recent research shows that about 45% of physicians report having had at least one patient whose story profoundly affected their career trajectory. It's like Turgenev understood something fundamental about the impact of these intense human connections in medicine.
That statistic really brings home how universal this experience is in medicine.
Looking at it through a modern lens, the story also speaks to something we're just beginning to understand about trauma in medical practice. Studies indicate that up to 30% of doctors experience some form of secondary trauma from intense patient experiences.
So, in many ways, this story was ahead of its time in recognizing the emotional toll of medical practice.
Absolutely right. And what's particularly relevant for today is how it shows that emotional cost isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a natural consequence of deep engagement with patient care. Modern research actually suggests that acknowledging these emotional impacts can lead to better patient care and provider well being.
That's fascinating how a 19th century story could so accurately predict these modern healthcare challenges.
And perhaps that's the most valuable lesson here, that while medical technology and social structures change, the fundamental human experience of caring for others remains surprisingly constant. It's why stories like this one continue to resonate with healthcare providers today.
It really makes you wonder, Pappy, what other insights from historical literature might help us understand our current healthcare challenges.
Looking ahead, Kalin, I think this story will become even more relevant as we grapple with questions about artificial intelligence in medicine and the importance of maintaining human connection in healthcare. Sometimes the past has a surprising amount to teach us about the future.